Shalom, shalom, Israel. It's Wednesday again, so you know what that means. Another world history according to the Bible. Today we're gonna be touching on who the sons of Ham are. So we just gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump straight into it. Let's talk about Ham and his sons. Let's go to Genesis 10. Let's go to Genesis chapter 10, and we are going to read. Let's start at verse 1. We're going to read verse 1 first.
The book of Genesis, chapter 10, and verse 1. Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were the sons born after the flood.
So, reading here, Noah's progeny, Noah's children, Noah's descendants. He said, we have Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I believe last week we went over Japheth, or the week before. This week we're going to touch Ham. Who is Ham? Who are the Hamites? Okay. Who are the Hamites? Let's see. Let's drop down to verse 6. Let's get to verse 6.
The book of Genesis, chapter 10, verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan.
So we see here. So we see here the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Phut, and Canaan. First thing I want to do, actually. We good, AV? God, do me a favor. Take us to the PowerPoints because I totally drew a blank just now. So we see in verse 1, Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, right? Let's deal with who Ham actually is and his descendants. Let's deal with who Ham is and his descendants. So take me to the PowerPoint, Angel, please, or Malachi. So who are the sons of Ham? Here it is. There we go. So now, let's deal with Ham first. Ham, according to the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, read that for me. Yatazar, can you see it?
Khan. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes.
But not the Negroes, because you have a lot of individuals that talk about so-called African Americans are actually Hamitic people, Hamites, right? But the definition is letting you know that yes, Ham he was the progenitor of dark races, but he was not the progenitor of the so-called Negro, so-called African American, right? Read.
But the Egyptians,
read.
Ethiopians,
The Ethiopians,
Libyans,
the Libyans,
and Canaanites.
and the Canaanites, right? So now, just click to my head. Let's go to Exodus real quick. Exodus 11, verse 7.
It's the book of Exodus, chapter 11, and verse 7. And it reads,
Go ahead.
but against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
It said there's a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. There's a difference between the descendants of Ham and the Shemitic people, or the descendants of Shem. There is a difference there, right? Let's go over to the next slide. Let's deal with Ham. This is the Hebrew word for Ham. It's Cham. Cham, proper masculine, the second son of Noah, father of Canaan, and various peoples which were inhabitants of the southern lands. This is talking about southwest of Israel. This is around the area of Egypt, right? In addition to south of where the, what is it called? Where the ark had landed. right? Inhabitants of the southern lands. What am I looking for? Here it is. In late usage, a collective name for the Egyptians, the place where, no, down here, I want the Strong's definition. It says, Khem, a son of Noah, also patronymic company, and his descendants or their country. So we see, actually, no, I think I need to go to the next one so we can get further explanation. Yeah. Read this for me and we're going to get into it.
The Hebrew word for Egypt is Mizraim.
Okay, so it says the Hebrew word for Egypt is Mitzrayim, right? So that was a particular landmass. Actually, also, well, says it right here. It was known also as Egypt, right? But when we go back to Matt, actually read on.
Literally meaning the two lands,
Uh-huh.
and was the name of one of Ham's sons.
So it was the name. Mitzrayim was actually the name of one of Ham's son. And they say that the majority of what was known as Northeast Africa was, well, let me not get ahead of myself. Let's continue to read. Read on.
The Egyptian word for Egypt was Kemet or Khem, derived from Ham according to sound change between languages.
So it was the word Ham literally comes from, the word Kemet literally comes from the word Ham, which in Hebrew was Khem. And that was where we get that name. That's why when we say Egyptians are Hamites, this is why we say that Egyptians are Hamites. This is where the name Kemet comes from. Kemet derives from the Hebrew word Khem. And the ET at the end is the same as we would say an Israelite. It's the ending of that word. It's the descendants of the descendants of this particular individual, right? Read on.
The names of Ham's other children correspond to regions within Egyptian influence. Canaan, Libya, one main tribe there being the Pitu, probably identical to Phut and Cush, part of Nubia.
So they're letting you know that the descendants of Ham are these individuals. They inhabited these particular lands, right? Read on.
In addition to the name Mizraim, the ancient Egyptian also referred to their land as Kemet.
So again, this is just another source. Hopefully you can see it at the bottom. It is a little bright. If not, I'll put it in the comments. But it says, in addition to the name Mitzrayim, the ancient Egyptians also referred to their land as what?
As Kemet,
which
means land of the blacks.
Read.
Western historians, however, say the word Kemet refers to the color of the soil of the land rather than its people.
So whichever it meant, it meant the land of black. What they were referring to that was black is what was in question. Was it the people, or are you talking about the fertile soil, right? Read.
But the word Kemet is actually an ethnic term, being a derivative of the word Khem.
Being a derivative of the word Khem, or, read.
Khem or Ham.
Right. Go ahead, read.
Which means burnt or black.
Again, going right back to the Hebrew word. The Hebrew word Ham or Ham, the English rendition of that Hebrew word. So this is why the Lord said, read that in Exodus 11 and 7 again for me, please.
But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doeth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
So there is a difference between the Hamitic nation, the Egyptians being the descendants of that Hamitic nation, and Israel, right? Which means burnt to black. Ham was one of the three sons of, okay, we already know that. Now, let's deal with Mitzrayim. Again, Egypt, land of crops, a country at the northeastern section of Africa, adjacent to Palestine, and through which the Nile flows. So they're telling you this was the area which was also known as Egypt, but it was also the son of Ham. What else do I want from here? Mitzrayim, Strong's definition on the right side. It says upper and lower Egypt. Egypt or the Egyptians. Now, you might not be able to see this. Negro's origin is the Negro curse. That's the name of this book. And it says, Roland says, Mizraim settled in Egypt. This is talking about the son of Ham. He went and settled in what's known today as Egypt, which is generally called in scripture after his name. And again, Mizraim is allowed to be the same with Menes, whom all historians declare to be the first king of Egypt. The ancient name remains to this day among the Arabians who call Egypt Mesri, although Basnich has ventured to express the opinion that Mizraim, excuse me, although Basnich has ventured to express the opinion that Mizraim was never in Egypt, yet are his footprints too legible not to be deciphered. So they're expressing to you here, this is where Ham's son, one of them, Mizraim, ended up going, which was northeast Africa, also known as Egypt, and started civilization in that particular realm. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on. So we see Ham being the progenitor of various African nations, right? That's why we say, oh, that person's a Hamite. Oh, he's Kenyan. Oh, he's more than likely a Hamite. Oh, he's Ethiopian. Oh, he's more than likely a Hamite. What we're saying is he's a descendant of Ham. There is a difference between Hamitic people and Shemitic people. So we see here, we started off with Ham, getting the definition of that, and then we moved on to Mitzrayim, which is also known as Egypt. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to, matter of fact, let's read Genesis 10 and 6.
Book of Genesis chapter 10, verse 6. And the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan.
So we're here at Cush now. Cush, H3568, Wash. And it reads, where are you? The land occupied by the descendants. Where do we want to start? I want to start over here on the right side. It says, the son of Ham, the grandson of Noah, the progenitor of the southernmost peoples located in Africa. The peoples descended from Cush, the land occupied by the descendants of Cush, located around the southern parts of the Nile, Ethiopia. So the southern portion of Egypt. Let me see if I have I do have it in there. It's just not yet. Hold on. Okay. Really quickly. It says the same thing. This is from the Eastern Bible Dictionary. Ethiopia, country of burnt faces, the Greek word by which the Hebrew Cush is rendered. So it's telling you that the word Ethiopia or the Ethiopians come from the Cushite individuals. They were the inhabitants of Ethiopia today. Now, where do we see the land of Cush? If you look on the left side, the red markings is what it would be referred to in modern time. So we see on the left side where it has Egypt, then it has Sudan, then it has southern Sudan slightly on just to the left bottom area. And then you see Cush, which is literally modern-day Ethiopia. They have the outline in red to show you what modern-day Cush would be referred to as, and it is Ethiopia. This is out of the Rose Bible Atlas. I don't remember the full name of it, but it's Rose's Bible Atlas. Then on the right side, you have the actual what it was referred to in ancient times, which was Cush. Then you have Egypt at the top, also known as Mizraim. Egypt is the Greek word. Mizraim was the Hebrew word. And so, yeah, we're trying to keep this simple. Ultimately, you see where the Cushites went, or Cush and his descendants went. They migrated down to. Actually, let me go back real quick because I think I wanted to read one more thing. Yes, it says the word by which the Hebrew Cush is rendered, a country which lay to the south of Egypt, beginning at Cyrene on the first cataract, and extending to beyond the confluence of the White and Blue Nile. It corresponds generally with what is now known as Sudan. So again, we see here Cush, the land of Cush, was a portion of it was in Sudan as well. So Cush was partially Ethiopia and partially Sudan as well. But it's mainly known for its name in Ethiopia, right? Let's. What do I want next? Okay, let's read on. Let's go to Genesis 10 before we go to the next one. Genesis 10, let's read verse 7.
Verse 7. And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Raama, and Sabteka, and the sons of Raama, Sheba, and Dedan, and Cush begot Nimrod.
And Cush begat Nimrod, right? So we see all of these other sons, but then we see this individual named Nimrod. And Nimrod actually developed a civilization, and we're going to see where this civilization dwelt. Read on.
And Cush begot Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. And he was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar.
So we see here that this man Nimrod, that a lot of us always talk about because he created the Tower of Babel, right? And when you look up that word, it's referencing something, it's somewhere in the land of Babylon. Let's go ahead and go over here. So Nimrod's kingdom, where he was, and the land of Shinar, we see it. And you see Akkad, you see Babylon, which is more than likely where the Tower of Babel was created. You see Ashur. Oh, wait, did we read that yet?
Not yet.
No, we didn't. Let's continue to read on before I get into it.
Verse 11. Out of that land went forth Ashur and builded Nineveh and the city Rehoboth and Calah.
So we see here that Nimrod, who was the progenitor of the civilization of Babylon, it said that he also went into what was known as Ashur. Now, here's the thing. When you read in the lineage of Shem, we see that Shem actually bore Ashur, which was the progenitor of the Assyrians. But in this particular land, you had Babylonians or Hamites as well. So you had both of them dwelling in that same area. You had Shemites and Hamites in that area. We even see, if you look on the map up here, you see the land of Ur to the almost southernmost part of the picture. It has a small town called Ur. This is where Abraham was from. So we know that the Shemites were dwelling amongst the Hamites as well, right? So it says that out of that land went forth Ashur and builded Nineveh and the city of Rehoboth and Calah. So Nimrod went out of this particular land. And if you look at the top of this map, what's cool about this map, look at the very top. You see Mount Ararat. This is approximately where Noah's Ark landed. They all migrated southward from there. Ham migrated into what is known as pretty much modern-day Babylon, modern-day Syria and Iraq, parts of Arabia. This is the area that they moved into, also known as the Fertile Crescent. And we see that because you see the land of Ashur, right? Let me see if I can, you can't see me. Hold on. Let me see if I can find the laser. Boom. So okay, cool. You can see me. So here we see, this is Mount Ararat. This is around where the ark landed. Everyone migrated down this way, right? Now we see Ashur. This was around where Nimrod, what do you call it? This is around where Nimrod actually built somewhere within this realm. Nimrod was trying to build the Tower of Babel. You see the city of Nineveh right here, where it says right here in verse 11, out of that land went forth Ashur, which means he went forth into Ashur and builded these cities. So in this area, around the area of Assyria, also Ashur, Nimrod built Nineveh He built yeah, Kela. Did we get to? Let me see if we got to it yet. Yes, we did. Okay. Going back up to verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, which was Babylon. Erech, Akkad, Calneh, and Shinar. So this is the entire land of Shinar. This is Akkad, or the Akkadians. Babel, or Babylon, down here. He went into Assyria, so he was also up here. Ashur, Kala, Nineveh. What else am I missing? I feel like that was all of them, not most of them. Yeah. So this was the area, the region in which Nimrod went. This is the region in which the Babylonians are, right? And so these Babylonians are also known as Hamites. Again, making the differentiation between Hamites and Shemites. I think I have another map. I do. Oh, I remember what this one's for. So this one is pretty much showing you that all of this area is what you would consider to be what's called the Fertile Crescent. So when you look at where Nimrod established and Babylon established themselves, it was in what was referred to as the Fertile Crescent. And actually a big part of this let me see if you can see. So from the river Euphrates right here, all the way up, all the way over here was supposed to be the original land given to our people. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's in Genesis. Give me a second. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 18. I'm going to read it. Read that for me.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 18.
Read down to, I think we're going to read down to 21.
Verse 18. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
Oh, no, yeah, that's all I needed. Verse 18. So he said, the river of Egypt, also known as the Nile. So this whole thing right here, the river Nile, this is the start. Said we're going to roll it all the way over to the river Euphrates. So the river Euphrates runs here. So this was the original landmass that was allotted to Israel. It was not just this area, which we conquered and then stopped. It was literally from here, where it was supposed to be from here, all the way to over here, right? Let's deal with, let me see something. I'm trying to see. Give me a second. Where did it go? Oh, you know what? It might have been on this one. No, it's fine. So let's move on. So then you have Put, which is believed to be the progenitor of the Libyans, which are also, again, an Hamitic nation, right? You see it even here. Outline of biblical usage. Put, a bow. A nation of people of northern Africa, probably the Libyans. So then if we go back to, where are you? Yeah, the definition of Ham, it says, he became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, the Libyans, which are the descendants of Put, and Canaan, or the Canaanites, rather. Let's go to, we got Cush. We got that. And, oh, I believe that's what let me see if I can find it. Excuse me. Give me 1 second. Oh, here it is. This is what I was looking for.
Okay.
So Erek. So it says Genesis 10 and verse, where are you? Cush begat Nimrod. He was a mighty hunter. Verse 10. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel and Erek and Akkad and Calneh and Shinar. So I was looking for that specifically on this map. So we see down here. This is where Abram was born. And then Erek is about 40 miles from there, which is approximately right here. So just to show you how far and wide, and this is why they call this man Nimrod a mighty hunter. Look at all of the land that he actually had in this time. He built land. He built up cities up here. He had his own city, Keilah, right here. Approximately around this area is more than likely where the Tower of Babel was created. And so it literally runs about 2/3 of the Fertile Crescent, what was known as the Fertile Crescent, right? And so that was the whole point I wanted to show you guys Erek as well. So you guys can see the land masses. The whole thing is I want you guys to see where these individuals inhabited. So they inhabited they inhabited all of this area here. This is where Nimrod, or the Hamites, ended up inhabiting, on top of the fact that they ended up coming over here as well, because we talk about Mizraim. Mizraim is the one that ended up in Egypt. And then even, I think what's next, which will be Canaan, right? So let's talk about Canaan. Canaan, lowland, proper masculine, the fourth son of Ham, and the progenitor of the Phoenicians and various nations who peopled the seacoast of Palestine. The land west, I'm on the right side now, the land west of Jordan, peopled by descendants of Canaan, subsequently conquered by the Israelites under Joshua. Let's see the Canaanites. Genesis 10, we're going to read on. 15.
Verse 15. It's the book of Genesis chapter 10, verse 15. And Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the
Heth.
and Heth, and the what is that?
And the Jebusite.
Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgasite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite, and afterward were the families of the Canaanites spread abroad.
Spread abroad, right? But now watch this. Let's see where the concentration of them were. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 7. And I want to read. We're going to start at verse. We'll start at verse 1.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and hath cast out many nations before thee, the Hittite, what is that?
The Hittites.
The Hittites.
These are the descendants of Heth, the son of Canaan. The Hittites are the descendants of Heth. Read.
And the Girgashites.
The Girgashites. Read.
And the Amorites.
Amorites.
And the Canaanites.
And the Canaanites, which again are descendants of Canaan. But as the scriptures say, like even in Genesis 25, you will have children and there will be different nations. Genesis 25 and 25, 2 nations are in thy womb, so on and so forth. So these were the progenitor of various Hamitic nations, right? So the Canaanites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites. I read past you. I'm sorry. Read on.
7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
So he said, this is the land that you will go to possess. These people are in the land that I'm telling you to go possess. So where was Canaan? Where's the majority of Canaan? Let's see. To the left. This is the entire land of Canaan, right? Now, let us compare. This is also the entire land of Canaan. So, Edom, well, actually, excuse me, it was west of the Jordan. So, the land of Judah, a portion of Israel, the area of the Philistines, they had their own little area in Canaan, and they literally were on the seacoast. They wrote this whole little thing. Sidonians up here, Lebanon, this whole little realm that we had taken. Then we went on to conquer even more. But the original land of Canaan was a portion that was given unto us as Israel. So we know this is where the Canaanites dwelt. Now, where is let me get that scripture. Read. Let me pull the scripture up. Give me 1 second. Let's go to Numbers. Nope, let's go to Joshua. Let's go to Joshua. Excuse me. Let me get over to Joshua. Joshua chapter 23. Joshua 23 and verse. We might actually start at verse 1. Let me double check. Yeah, let's start at verse 1, and then we're going to drop it down. Joshua 23 and 1.
Book of Joshua, chapter 23, verse 1. And it came to pass a long time after that the Lord had given rest unto Israel from all their enemies round about, that Joshua waxed old and stricken in age. Mm-hmm. And Joshua called for all Israel, and for the elders, and for the heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said unto them, I am old and stricken in age. And
Drop
ye have
down to, let's reverse 4.
Verse 4. Behold, I have divided unto you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes, from Jordan, with all the nations that I have cut off, even unto the great sea westward.
So it's talking about the Mediterranean Sea. It says from Jordan. Let me see if I could point it out, because it's actually kind of small. I believe Jordan is right here, the actual river. It says from this point westward, so from here, the river, westward, even unto the great sea. So he's literally saying from this little area is what I'm appointing you guys. This is what I'm giving you right here. Right? Read.
And the Lord your God, he shall expel them from before you, and drive them from out of your sight. And ye shall possess their land, and as the Lord your God hath promised unto you.
Read.
Be ye therefore very courageous to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, that ye turn not aside therefrom to the right hand or to the left. That ye come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their gods, nor cause to swear by them, neither serve them, nor bow yourselves unto them, but cleave unto the Lord your power, as ye have done unto this day.
Read. Let's drop down to verse 11.
Verse 11. Take good heed, therefore, unto yourselves, that ye love the Lord your God. Else if you do in any wise go back and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, even these that remain among you, and shall make marriages with them, and go unto them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your power will no more drive out any of these nations from before you. But they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land which the Lord your God hath given you.
So guess what good old stiff-necked,
we did.
hard-headed Israel decided they wanted to do? Just take a guess. Look at where we are today. And just take a guess what we decided to do still. Right? So the Canaanites, there was still a remnant of the Canaanites there, even though we should have gotten rid of them. Let me see. I think I want, let's see, Joshua. Let's read Joshua 24 and no, we don't need that. So we see, take me back to the PowerPoint real quick, Angel. So we see here, this was where the Canaanites dwelt. All in this region. This was also the land given to Israel. This is the land that the Lord said will be flowing with milk and honey, right? But we ended up stopping our conquering because what we were originally supposed to have, let me see if I can get a bigger picture so you can see it. Let's go with this one. Okay. So what we were originally, you see Sidon over here. This is Israel. This is the land of Israel. So we're a little further than that. Actually, we're going to need a different one. Let me see if I can grab a different one. Okay. We'll look over here. This is the River Nile, right? Running down the River Nile. This whole little joint right here. Now, the question is, were we supposed to get everything from the River Nile? I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember reading that. But nonetheless, this is the Nile River, right? From here, which means Egypt, I believe this is called the Sinai Peninsula, Israel, or the land of Canaan, all the way, can we see the Euphrates from here? All the way to about the Euphrates right here. So from here, all of this good stuff, also known as the Fertile Crescent. This whole little area was known as the Fertile Crescent, which was ultimately the most fertile land in that particular time because of the rivers that ran through it. So it was the perfect place for agriculture, which means it would have been an amazing place for business because you could grow, and it was a good place for what is it called? To dwell, to settle, to start a civilization because you could grow a ton of crops here, which means you could also have a lot of cattle here because they had crops to eat. So it's supposed to be from here, the Euphrates River, all the way to over here, just so you can see. This is what we originally had, right? Starting here, going all the way over to here. And this is what we got. This is what we ended up getting right here. Right in this little area. Just so y'all can kind of understand. But nonetheless, in short, when you look at these particular nations, you can bring it back to us, Angel. When you look at these particular nations, and tonight wasn't going to be a very long lesson anyways. When you look at these particular nations, we see where or who more than likely they are today. So we read about Ham. Ham was the progenitor of most of the African nations. Of course, they dispersed from there. Cush, they say, migrated toward Sudan. So the Sudanese and the Ethiopians, some of them, if you go back far enough, they may be of the same lineage as well. Now, here's the thing, because people will say, well, they also went to a lot of them look Middle Eastern. A lot of Ethiopians look Middle Eastern. Well, I might have closed it out on my computer. Let me see. So I can read it. This one? Oh, I might have closed it out. Yeah, I did close it out. Well, when you go and you research it yourself, Ethiopia and that region, they were conquered around, I think it was 600 AD. I want to say it was 600 AD. By the Arabs. The Arabs actually invaded that land. The Arabs invaded the land of Palestine, that region, Egypt, down into the Sudanese area, Sudan, the land of Sudan as well as Kush and Ethiopia. In this particular time, this is where you get the conquest, where they were going around Islamicizing. I don't know if that's a word, but making everyone Muslim. They were going on their conquest to push the religion of Allah and the Muslims, and you can go and research that. So you see a lot of Ethiopians that look semi Arab. And you also, and this is important because some people say due to that, this is Cush actually may have gone into Arabia. But if you look up the history around 600 AD, the reason why they look alike is because these people came in 1400 years ago, approximately, when they were pushing the issue for Islam, and they went and they invaded there, and of course, they stayed there just like any invader. Um, but in short, yeah. So Hamites are quote unquote African nations, Libyans, Canaanites of Tyre and Zidon. That's why when we talk about Tyre, the king of Tyrus and whatnot, we call them Hamites because they are descendants of Ham. Cush, the Ethiopians, sons of Ham. Um, Possibly even a portion of the Sudanese. The Babylonians, Ham, Nimrod, who ended up all over the region of even portions of Assyria, because when you get to Shem, Shem has a descendant known as Ashur. Ashur is a Shemitic people. Ashur is actually the Assyrians, but the Hamites were also in their region as well. So they had more than likely mixed. So as far as majority of the African nations, because we know that when they were there, they migrated as well. That's you don't even have to read that in scriptures. That's documented history. Africans migrated around the rest of Africa. That's why we refer to Hamitic people as Africans. We call Africans Hamites. That's why we make a difference between what we say Jake or Israel and Ham or Africans. And that's why even the scriptures tell you I made a difference between Israel and the Egyptians. Now, Egypt, remember, the whole area of Kemet at the time was known as Egypt, or the whole land of Egypt at the time was also referred to as Kemet. And you ask anyone who is Kemetic, studies the Kemetic science, what some of us refer to as Egyptology, they will tell you, well, it originally wasn't even called Egypt. Egypt was a Greek word. We called it Kemet, a derivative of the word Ham. Malachi. Yeah. A derivative of the word ham, excuse us for the technical difficulty. A derivative, so the word kemet comes from the Hebrew word ham. So this is why, just so you can get an understanding of why we say, oh, these Africans are Hamites. This is the history of it. This is where these people migrated to, and this is how we know that they are the African nations. Because people may ask, well, how do you know that Ham are the Africans? This is how you know. But it specifies, even in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, it says they were the progenitor. He was the progenitor, rather, of the dark race, but not the Negro or the African Americans. That's a completely different individual. Those are a completely different race of people. In history, we knew that as well. So there was a differentiation. But with that, that's pretty much who Ham is, who we see them to be today. I guess let me give you the run really quick. So every first Monday, make sure you tune into our Q&A. You can ask any question that you're scared to ask your pastor. You can ask any question that has come into your mind that you just absolutely cannot find the answer to. We do not profess to know everything, but we're going to give you the answer to the best of our knowledge. If we don't know it, we will tell you. We will get back to you. But for the most part, we usually have an understanding. All praise to the Most High. So every first Monday, tune in to Q&A. Every Tuesday is Bible Basics. If you want the milk, not the meat, the milk, understanding the law, understanding your duty as Israel, understanding basic breakdowns, understanding basic doctrines, that is for you. This is mainly for people who are just now coming into the truth or have been in the truth for a while but ain't strong in their scriptures yet. You need to lock into those Bible basic classes because it's going to give you a foundation that's going to strengthen your faith. If your foundation is weak, your strength is going to be your faith is going to be weak. So you need to lock into those. Wednesday, world history. We try to make it entertaining. We try to make sure that it's very informative. Tune into the history because give me Job 9 and 21 really quick. Give me Job 8 and 8 after that. Actually, give me Job 8 and 8 first. This is the importance. history is important. Understand that history is important.
Job 8 and 8.
Job 8 and verse 8 first.
It's the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. And it reads, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age."
So it's telling you to inquire on the things of the past, right? Inquire on your history, read.
"And prepare thyself to the search of their fathers."
And prepare yourself to search out your fathers, your forefather, your ancestry. Know your history. Real quick, I'm going to get this scripture. Romans 15 and 4. "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope." So we see that the scriptures are big on knowing your history. Know about the things that happened before. Know why they happened. Know how they happened. Because as the saying goes, those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. So lock into these history classes. Give me 9 and 21.
Job chapter 9, verse 21. And it reads, "Though I were perfect, yet would I not know my soul."
He said, if I was absolutely perfect, but I didn't know who I was, I didn't know my history, read.
"I would despise my life."
This thing called self-hatred is prominent, it's prevalent in our people. It's very important to know your history. Lock into these Wednesday classes, know your history, because we have a bunch of crazy doctrines out there. Oh, African-American people are actually Hamites. No. Go and do your research. No. That's the importance of knowing your history. So we have Bible basics, world history. Both are very, very, very important, especially for new individuals, to give you a foundation. Every other Thursday, second and fourth Thursday, we have Stick to the Script, either in the classroom, which is usually a surprise lesson. We don't put that out there. It can be literally anything. And then we have current events every fourth Thursday. Tune into those classes. Powerful classes. Love them. Friday, we got the bishops, either Izar or Bishop Yatab. They can pretty much give you just about anything, but you know for a fact that it's going to be fire. And then Saturday. So Friday we have room 144, which is the opening class. Saturday is the closing Sabbath. Saturday is Bishop Tzion, who can tell you about yourself and tell you need to get your life together and give you a lesson, but at the same time counsel you and check your spirit. Or he can hop into some doctrines and tear some stuff up and show you what the true doctrine of certain understandings are. Prophecy, you don't know what you're going to get from Bishop Zion, but know for a fact that there's going to be some fire. Know for a fact that there's going to be what we refer to as spiritual food, your soul food. Make sure that you tune into these classes. Make sure that you locking into these joints, because we here for y'all. We're just vessels that the Most High uses to convey information, convey these scriptures to you, to, Lord willing, build up your faith and allow you to go out there and, if need be, contend for the Most High. And if need be, as the scriptures say, being able to answer, what does it say? Be ready in season and out of season, and be ready to give an answer. That's what we're doing. We're trying to build brothers and sisters up. We're trying to give you guys this information so we can continue to gather the lost sheep. So with that being said, that is ultimately the lesson. It was a pretty short one because we were just dealing with Ham. Who is Ham, right? So we hit these scriptures, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So if there's nothing from Brother Yatzazar, that's it. All right. Well, with that, we're going to go ahead and close out, pray it out. Again, another episode, another lesson, another class, World History Wednesday. Brother Darash, Brother Yatzazar. Signing out. Shalom.